Hey everyone, it's Sendoh, and it looks like over the last few hours the CS2 team might have been making some adjustments to the VAC live system. Suddenly, a bunch of posts started popping up from people who were temporarily banned from the servers for having irregular gameplay. In other words, they might have been using cheats. The thing is, among those affected are long-time community members with solid reputations. In fact, some of them insist they weren't cheating and claim it could be a false positive. But all of this feels a bit suspicious, so today we're going to talk about it, because it's a really interesting topic. Let's get into it. Today's video is sponsored by skinvault.gg, the ultimate virtual marketplace where you can trade, buy and sell your skins easily and 100% securely. Tired of your old skins? Skinvault makes it super simple. Just pick a few skins from your inventory, choose what you want from their site, and boom, it's done in just a few clicks. And don't forget to use the code sendoh to get a $10 bonus on your first trade and 35% extra on your deposit. This whole situation started with a tweet from Quaxi, a well-known figure in the CS2 Twitter community. He's someone who used to be very respected by pretty much everyone. In a post last night, he shared a screenshot from the game showing that he was hit with the infamous 24-hour quarantine by VAC Live. If you didn't know, once the anti-cheat system suspects you of cheating, it cancels the match and gives you a penalty that can range from 24 hours for a first-time offense to over 181 days. It might sound ridiculous that someone who used cheats would even get a second chance, but the reality is that once VAC Live flags you, it completely destroys your trust factor, the system that determines how reliable your account is. From then on, you'll basically only be matched with other cheaters. They do this not only to keep gathering data from cheaters and teach the AI to recognize certain cheat patterns, but also to avoid permanently banning someone who might not have been cheating at all. If someone can prove they weren't using anything suspicious, they can potentially reintegrate into the regular player base. VAC Live doesn't just temporarily suspend the suspected cheater, it also hits their friends who were playing with them at the time, so both the cheater and anyone benefiting from them get temporarily punished. Often, when someone gets caught cheating, the first thing they say is that they didn't do anything, that it must be a mistake, and they'd never cheat. But after digging a little, it usually turns out they were cheating in most matches. However, in this case, we've got a bit of a dilemma. According to Quaxi's replies to people curious about his situation, it seems he was in a game where he was getting crushed, he had only 2 kills and 5 deaths, and suddenly the match was cancelled. He assumed it was because someone on the other team was cheating, but when he returned to the main menu, he saw that he was the one temporarily banned for irregular gameplay. In other words, there were suspicions he was the cheater. Interestingly, the community's reaction wasn't as divided as you might expect. A lot of people believe it was just a mistake. This person has been playing Counter-Strike for so many years that it doesn't make sense for him to be cheating all this time. But of course, it's impossible to know for sure. I don't think any of us would bet everything on someone we don't personally know. For example, if I were live streaming a game and suddenly VAC Live flagged me and I came back to the lobby to see I'd been banned, a lot of you would probably just assume I was cheating, even if I was fully aware that I didn't use any cheats or do anything weird. So yeah, this kind of situation is really tricky. Obviously, the person flagged is going to deny cheating, and even if they're innocent, just getting flagged by VAC Live is enough to make people suspicious. After all this, it turns out Quaxi wasn't the only one detected by VAC Live in recent hours. Looking through the tweet replies, a viewer of Renyan also got flagged by the same system and insists he has never used cheats. Several other commenters are saying the same thing. One of my own subscribers even sent me a screenshot showing a match that got cancelled, so we might be seeing a spike in VAC Live match cancellations. But is this because of a new update, or is it a bug that's flagging innocent people? In 2023, there was a massive wave of false VAC bans across the community. To this day, no one knows exactly what caused that wave of false positives. Since then, there hasn't been anything quite like it. Occasionally, you'll see some stats showing players who were unbanned by Steam support, probably because they were flagged by mistake. Valve even said back then that VAC Live can make errors. If a match is wrongly cancelled, there was an email you could use to report it. So yes, false VAC Lives and AI errors still happen, because the AI is still learning. That means there's a real possibility that some of the bans we've seen recently are just mistakes. But there's also a lot of talk that the CS2 team may have made the AI more aggressive. Before, backlife would usually only trigger when someone was obviously wallbanging or using blatant aimbots to ruin the match. That made it easier to ensure that only actual cheaters were caught. But over the past few months, they've added more detection modules, one of the newest being wall hack detection. If a player repeatedly aims at enemies through walls, it can now cancel the match. So it's likely that they're now testing or expanding these modules to detect more subtle forms of cheating, not just the obvious ones. They're targeting players trying to hide it or cheat in more discreet ways. The number of VAC lives has definitely gone up recently, which shows that the CS2 anti-cheat system is starting to pick up on new patterns or behaviors. But it also means the risk of false positives is higher. Given Valve's history with anti-cheat, we can't confidently say you'll never get banned if you don't cheat anymore. But for every mistaken ban, there are probably 50 others who just won't admit they were cheating. If over the next few days we see tons of people getting flagged by backlife without any clear reason, then we can start talking about errors in the system. But with only 4 or 5 new cases, we can say for sure that something's wrong with backlife. It might just be that they're detecting things they couldn't catch before or needed more data for. Either way, I'll keep you all updated with every new development, so don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on everything CS2. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any CS2 news. I'm Sendoh and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.